to my doctor, what he says. Pretty big surgery? Yeah, I didn't realize how big of a surgery it was, honestly, until me and Andrew had watched a video of it. Holy goodness, is it a big surgery? Are you happy with the results? Oh my fucking God. I've never felt happier. Yeah. It's been pretty life-changing, I have to say, which might sound silly because it's just a breast reduction, but it is legitimately life-changing. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I wish I had done it sooner. Why would you watch a video of the surgery? Why wouldn't I watch a video of the surgery? Thank you, silly. I appreciate it. I'm a weird person. But yeah, me and Andrew only watched a couple minutes of it, and then we were like, "Oh, okay. You know what? I think I've seen enough." It got very gory, very quick. Kind of crazy that they record the whole thing. They didn't record mine. It was someone else's on the old YouTube University. Did your insurance help pay for it? Yes, my insurance completely covered the surgery. So I went through my insurance and I went through my doctors and stuff like that. I got put on the waiting list for the surgery, and yeah, everything was covered. Oh, okay, are you guys ready to hear some craziness that I experienced after my surgery? I was telling Jeff and Mel about it while we were playing League the other night. I didn't tweet out too much about like what was going on, but I'm feeling so much better now that I don't mind talking about it, because I'm pretty sure everything's fucking fine. I would have heard if it wasn't. I had a very strange reaction to the surgery. More specifically, we think it was the anesthetic, possibly. But when I woke up at the hospital, I was in the recovery room, and unfortunately there was no beds available. So I kind of had to stay in the recovery room until it was like 8 p.m. or something that night before I could get up into my room. And when I first woke up, everything seemed fine. I was just like super thirsty and stuff like that, like most people are. But I kind of noticed that some of my left hand was numb. It was just like 2 fingers and a little bit of the side of my palm. And I was like, okay, like it's probably just from me lying on my back for like the last 4 or 5 hours during the surgery and then getting ready to wake up and stuff. So I didn't really think anything of it. And then a couple hours later, I noticed that it's kind of getting a little bit worse, like up into more of my arm, but like it wasn't too bad. And then again, I was just like, oh man, it's definitely just from like the surgery itself. Well, it starts getting weird from there. I then start having issues going to the bathroom, which is one of the reasons I had to stay in the hospital. I had to get a bunch of tests done and stuff, but I started having issues using the bathroom. So the nurses set up like a little tiny toilet for me, and I would get up and try to sit on it. And I was sitting there for like 15 minutes, and I was like, I am busting to fucking pee. Like I have to pee so bad, but I couldn't let my bladder pee. Like my bladder just wouldn't release anything. So she was like, that's sometimes normal. Like it takes a while for your bladder to wake up after anesthetic. And I was like, well, I should probably let you know something else is going on weird. And she's like, oh, what's that? And I was like, well, now my whole arm is numb and then some. And she's like, wait, what do you mean your whole arm is numb? And I was like, well, I started noticing earlier that my hand was numb. And when I sat on the toilet and after sitting there for like 15 minutes, I realized, guys, that it wasn't just my hand and a part of my arm that was numb. The whole left side of my body was completely numb. My face, my neck, my back, my arm, all the way down to my leg, completely numb. And I also had it on the right side of my body where up to like my knee on my left or on my right side was completely numb. And then I had this whole arm up to here numb. But my face was okay on this side. And that's when they got like a surgeon to come in, one of the like resident surgeons. They like called him right away because my doctor had left for the evening, and he came down to check me out. And so they started doing some tests while I was there, just very quickly to see like, you know, what could be causing the numbness. Because typically they say if I was having numbness after surgery, sometimes when they put the breathing tube down your neck, they say that having your head back can kind of pinch nerves in your neck and cause like certain numbnesses in places. But for me, because it was in my face and in just different spots, they couldn't really figure out what was going on. And it got to the point, again, I wasn't super nervous until one moment in time. So the doctor comes in and he has like a bunch of pins and like a pen, and he's like, okay, so I want you to talk to the nurse and I'm going to be doing a couple things. Guys, the next day I had bruises all over my arms from them like pinching me, and I couldn't feel anything, like pricking me with little needles to see what was happening. And the thing that made me realize that it was potentially kind of scary what was going on was I was like talking to the nurse, and all of a sudden her face just goes like white. And I look over the doctor and I was like, what's going on? He's like, you don't feel that? And I was like, feel what? And he had the pen like laid on my fingernail and was doing a pressure test, so a nail test, because pushing in on the base of your nail bed is extremely extremely uncomfortable. It's painful. And for anyone who's having numbness, this is a good way to see if it's actual numbness or I guess pretend numbness. So I ended up actually having a giant bruise, and even now that my nail is growing out, I can see where he put pressure on my thumbnail. And they did it what is it called? Now I'm forgetting what the doctor's name or thing. They were like a nerve specialist, essentially. A neuroscience, neuro doctor, neurologist. There we go. The next day, the neurologist was doing the same thing, and I ended up having a bruise on my toe from them doing the nail bed test on my feet. And anyways, they couldn't figure it out. It took me, guys, until my second week home